And we are back after the holidays, starting season 2 of Late Night Vacuum with me, Grakees, and the much better person sitting to my
Oh,
my left camera right, Dublar Thackeray.
eat a bag of dicks. Hello, everybody.
Much worse person. Wait, would it be a bag of holy dicks?
Anatomically, I think you'd probably be right. Hello, everybody, and hello, Grakees. How are you, sir?
I am doing well.
We have got so much to talk about and so much to catch up on.
I know.
Whoo, boy.
We
Uh,
pre-recorded all that stuff and then they went, "Hey, guess what? Nuclear drop."
oh, so
Womp,
awesome.
womp, womp.
Womp, womp,
Nuclear launch
womp.
detected.
Uh, so before we do that, though, let's harmonize
Ooh.
in three, two, one.
Oh. Oh.
Okay, so just a little bit of an extra thing, Grakies, before we kind of talk about what we've been playing and everything. How are the holidays? How's the holiday season for yourself?
I got to go hang out with family and then got a sinus infection. Yay!
Yay! That was quite an infection. Grakies is a very constant streamer on Twitch, and you were off. You weren't streaming for over a week. A week? What was it?
I think I missed 4 days or so, 5 days, and
Felt
then
yeah. Felt very long, and
yeah.
the funny piece is that you and I think, had a little bit of a pre-conversation before you were ready to get back on, and even before we did the "I'm sick" mini podcast that I put out.
Hmm.
Um, you sounded like a cold, wet kebab.
Yeah, I played it up a little bit for that pre-recording little bit there, but when you Dublar and I talked a little bit off there, you could hear it in my sinuses and stuff. It was just this. It's annual for me. For all of
you,
you out there, yes, I go through this every single year. It's like a vacation, but in hell.
I would describe it as you were a Cthulhu polyp factory.
Yes,
Pretty much. But so you're feeling much better now.
yes, yes, I am.
And for myself, my holidays were pretty good. I was completely separate from the internet, or
That's a lie.
basically, well, I had a little bit of a signal. So I was trying to watch like your streams, but
Yeah.
I had to put it down to mobile source, and I could only do it when nobody else was like checking email. um, I had a what about 1.5 megabyte connection.
Better than dial-up.
10 times better than it was last year. Genuinely 10 times better. And it was lovely. I just spent it in front of the fireplace, overdosing on caffeine. I was doing about 10 to 11 cups a day.
Eh,
Uh, and,
that's
uh,
not
and
that much.
and roasting in front of a fire. It was heavenly.
I bet you
Um,
tasted delicious.
Parts of me have been rumored to taste nice, but I can't go there. The the other piece for me, of course, was that we were meant to be doing this recording yesterday, um, but I was actually at an awards ceremony and came home very happy, and promptly found out that I shouldn't have eaten the fish. Um,
Whoops.
yeah, it was my today. Yeah, yesterday was my first. In context, it was my first sick day in 14 years.
That's
Um,
that's quite a stomach bug that hit you.
it was as I was saying, it was the vomit equivalent of fire in my lasers.
So you pulled an exorcist.
I pretty much did, but I'm okay now. So Grax, what have we been playing in this holiday season?
Oh, for the love of God, so much stuff. I played a little bit of Elite off stream just to get myself ready for it, and also see about getting my track IR working with it since it doesn't work in Star Citizen now.
I know you've. Oh yeah, I've noticed you've got a wee kind of like a Borg attachment to yourself.
Yes, it's
What is
the
it?
Track Clip Pro for the Track IR5.
Nice.
So I've got the Track IR5 now and the Track Clip Pro to go with it, and I keep telling everyone they want to be assimilated. They're not going to run from it. Resistance is futile.
Um, so you've been playing some ED and you've been playing some Star Citizen. Anything else you've
Yep.
been playing?
Yes, actually, I played some XCOM.
I love XCOM.
So yes,
Are we
I
talking the
played some
new
XCOM.
version or the classic XCOM?
It's technically the expansion of the classic, but the new one doesn't come out until February
No,
6th.
you know where I was going. I was talking about the original game.
Oh, it's not original. It's Enemy
You're
Within.
the enemy within, so you're playing the latest update of the
Yes,
franchise. Okay.
without doing long war.
Yeah, I'm seeing people going, I can't wait for XCOM 2 in chat. Tell me
I
about it.
know. Oh
Oh,
man, and that comes out just 2 days before my birthday.
oh, nice. Everybody, that was a subtle hint. Make a note. Um,
Get me the game.
get you that game. And yeah, no, I absolutely loved the XCOM. I had a friend who actually created an interpretation of the original XCOM called Xenonauts. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're a fan of the old game, but you didn't like some of its mechanics, it's been greatly tidied up. Hey,
Nice.
Togar in chat saying still prefers Xenonauts and Parazane as well. Awesome source. Good we have some fans. Um,
But yes, there was a couple other games on the list, dude. For all the it's holy, I've had a lot of games since we last talked.
You lucky bastard,
I
because you know how many
know.
games I've had.
I'm betting it's going to be somewhere below one and above -1.
Well, I've played Mahjong on my phone. D- does
That
that count?
counts
Yay! I played a game.
as half a point, I think.
Fuck you.
So
Um,
that way, I'm still right in my guess.
so to put in context, I actually just picked up a 1 terabyte SSD. I've been so busy, I haven't even had a chance to install it.
Oh,
And that's going to be my Star Citizen drive.
nice. That's a good drive
Yeah,
for it.
I'd be quite happy with that. So in terms of the last couple of weeks, anything else of note that you'd like to mention?
Well, I mean, there was that whole holiday episode, not of ours, but CIG's holiday live stream.
Oh, I've heard about that. That was quite fantastic.
Yes.
So some of you in chat may know, and podcast people will definitely know. Grakees and I, we took a 2 or 3 week break for the holiday season, but we actually recorded audio podcasts to put out for Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. And it was great fun doing them. And we kind
Hmm.
of wondered what we would get. And they were from CIG, and they were recorded just before the live stream.
Yep.
And then the live stream happened.
Oh
It was lovely.
my god! I think we laughed, we cried, we shat our pants.
I'd like to recuse myself from that last statement.
No, you
The
don't need to. It's true.
mm-mm. um what I was interested in was just so again with the complete and utter lack of polish in the presentation, and why I think that's actually kind of awesome. Um, CIG is again not like other publishers, but because they're not a publisher, they
Hmm.
don't need to. They don't try to get things exactly right. I mean, they would love to, but that's kind of part of their charm. They kind of flub. Um,
Yep.
and there was lots of little issues, things here and there. But the one thing that they didn't flub, that just completely knocked out the park, was their casual demo of From Pupil to Planet.
Oh, I was gonna get to that after I poked fun at them for something
Oh, go on,
first.
poke fun at them. Go on, go on.
Oh, I have to say that on the other side with the flubs, that my favorite was Chris Roberts sitting down to play the game because at first he runs into the timeout issue and
Yeah,
he thinks it's the setup or the connection in the office. And it's like, no, 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 that's what happens to us too. And
yeah.
then he has more issues logging in and getting things up and running. I think he hit a timeout 0 as soon as he got in. And then when he got in there, none of the controls worked.
To be honest, that's just typically the way.
I know.
What was hilarious is, I mean, so it was like, okay, so he plays in one type of controller because he normally plays gamepad because it's very easy to do when he's kind of, demonstrating to take a lot of tech setup. He's got the I think X52 unit in front of him. What was
Yeah,
it?
I think it was
And
an X52.
and that wasn't his machine. So did they do anything with the mappings or the user folder?
That's part of what I was wondering with it and everything. And I'm
Oh,
sitting there going, "Oh, Chris, welcome to everything that we do every single time we go into PTU."
the one thing about presentations I always assume is that if you're going to present something, you're not Steve Jobs because one, you're alive, and also something is going to go wrong. And what's the plan B? There wasn't too much of a plan B there, so maybe I can't give any advice to them
No,
because it's stuff they already know.
it was
But
just nice to see them have the same issues that we have.
it was quite charming.
Yes.
And then they showed people to planet, and jaws hit the floor. So do you want to recap what people to planet is and what it means?
Oh, for the love of God. Okay, Pupil to Planet was the first video thing that they did, and this was a video demonstration
Mm-hmm.
of procedural generation.
Mm-hmm.
And procedural generation basically means that they can put in a seed of information into the system
Uh-huh.
and generate an entire planet. Right now, it was a rocky surface planet. So they were able to generate what is basically a small moon. I think it was like,
1,000 kilometers.
yeah, 1,000 kilometer diameter moon. And it's a rocky planet, atmosphere. They dropped in a landing zone for it. They showed it off. They showed the video. They showed how the light actually works with the atmosphere so it can have an atmosphere and it actually has the effects to it. And then on top of that, they go, okay, while that video was nice, we do know that people are, well, they're basically going to do the same old thing that they've done with Star Citizen a lot and say, oh, it was a nice tech demo video, but that's fake, or it's pre-rendered, or any other number of things. So what they decided at the last minute was to drag in, and just give me a second. I
I think we
apologize,
can. I
Blair.
think we. I think we can break. Hello,
Yeah.
boarding party.
Hello, boarding party. Chat, respond with battle cry. So,
So,
yes.
so from the top.
Okay. Let me rewind a little bit there. Thousand
That's the.
kilometer diameter. So basically a small moon.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's no moon.
it has a landing port.
There's an
But yeah,
exhaust
they
port.
put in the landing zone onto the small moon. The whole thing's procedurally generated. Atmosphere information for the planet. They have it so basically it doesn't crash your system on trying to load all of the details of this thing. They use the level of detail loading as you approach. So as you approach an area of the surface, it pops in all of the information that it already has and says, hey, here's all the details of the planet. They built that up and built that up, and then that was in the video. Then they
Yeah.
drop on us, hey, guess what? We're gonna actually show you this live in like the test bed of the game to show
That
you
was
that
pretty epic.
this exists in engine and we can do this. And so Sean Tracy gets in the Cutlass at Port Olisar, aims at the newly procedurally generated planet, flies there, so he quantums up, flies up, goes down through the atmosphere. You see the whole terrain starting to come into play, goes over to the landing zone, and then attempts to land the ship.
Truth be told, that was a better landing than I've ever done. But he absolutely nailed it, and this was real time in editor. It was absolutely fantastic to see.
Yeah.
Utterly amazing.
I,
Um,
and
it was the mic drop moment of the stream.
yes, that's a mic drop moment that rippled across gaming. Because procedural generation on that scale is something that has been chased for quite some time now. So hitting procedural generation at that level of fidelity and on that scale is one of the current holy grails of development for games, because it means the amount of stuff that you can put into a game becomes that much more expansive.
So to put into context, just think it through. Woke up, got out of the room, uh, got into a ship into a different localized physics grid, flew across a vast expanse of space,
Yep.
and then flew into a planet and landed in a planet in the landing area, all without a loading screen.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all of it. And and this is just the start of what they're doing with procedural generation too, and what they
Hmm.
can do. Because from here, you can now generate planets.
Yeah,
Great, but it's rocky surface.
well, that's not stopped other games.
It's true. But now they're aiming for more, and they've talked about this. Where,
Yeah, and you know they've already got more.
guess what? Water, forests, alien civilization, ancient places that you can go and take a look at,
This is
creatures.
sounding more and more like Minecraft.
I'm just thinking about the whole thing where they've nodded to and talked about a lot
Yeah.
alien animals, flora and fauna.
Yes.
Well, I'm just thinking about the fact of you go down to investigate an old temple. It's creepy, it's dark, it's an ancient alien civilization. You're going in to grab some artifacts of some kind because some corporation wants to study them.
Hmm.
And the thing is overrun by some sort of nasty little, wall crawling, acid spitting buggers. So you have to go in there with suited up mercenaries with frickin' rifles and everything else as you're going in after this artifact, fighting off waves of these aliens and stuff. Or maybe people want alien hides from some odd planet and things, so you have to have a hunt squad go down.
Oh my God.
Star
Your
Citizen meets Evolve.
side quest: collect 10 alien hides.
Fight 10 alien rats.
Oh, fuck off! No, no, not that, not that.
But you
Um,
could go hunting just because you want to.
so Parazane in chat asks, so where are these procedural planets going to be? It's not like Elite Dangerous where they have an entire galaxy to put this stuff. That's an interesting question.
They have 100 systems to put this stuff, though. Now they can procedurally generate any of the moons, which means that you can
Yeah.
fly down to them. Any of the planets in those systems. They could generate X number more systems at higher fidelity. So even though we know of, say, 70 or 80 systems out there and possible jump points, maybe now because procedural generation will make it that much faster, they can throw another 70 hidden ones with unknown jump points in that have never been discovered for
Well,
explorers.
there was original conversation between about 120 to 140 starting systems, but not all of them would be visible. So this could be part of that.
Yep.
But again, it's think of it this way, and it was kind of answered partially in a recent 10 for the Chairman with Chris. You can now procedurally generate planets with landing zones. So that means, like, say, Terra, just to mention one of the best planets
Mm,
currently in the game. You have the Terra Prime, the capital city where you will land, but now you can also have ad hoc landing spots because you could, within reason, procedurally generate areas of that planet. You may not generate all of it,
Yeah,
depends upon what they want to not show or show, but it means that you now can add ad hoc landing.
it's true. Though Terra Prime, I don't know if I want to go there. I've never seen a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
We haven't even talked about episode 7. Um, so yeah, so I think that's kind of one of the things it can do, because they're working to create a depth of engagement. This just increases that from the already pre-established places to the collect your alien pelts, befriend a dumb Ewok, or however they want to
I
take it.
I want to take my Hornet and strafe the Ewok village.
So Togar says, no, they said on the main planets there'll be no ad hoc landing, there'll be landing corridors. I'm actually combining the two of those because, yes, there will be no ad hoc landing, but there will be landing corridors to landing locations. So one of the things that they've actually started to do is, as they were talking about building out more of the Stanton system, focusing on microtech and various other kind of larger zones, they're actually interspersing that with smaller zones, so that we can have more places to land quickly, which I think is part of the mentality behind this, because procedure generation, I think, will probably come out to us in a more robust form probably the next 3 to 4 months.
Not to mention on those planets, they could always take it where okay, so yeah, you have Terra Prime, the main
Hmm.
city and everything else. However, people might want to go off to a small side city that's a little
Yeah.
bit seedier, even though Terra is supposed to be all sorts of, built up and cultured. There might be seedier,
Mm.
smaller landing zones that they can pop in because the planet's been generated for them, and they don't have to handcraft every aspect as much anymore when they start doing that. It it allows those cool areas like New York on Earth or London or Terra Prime having that, or having Nyx as
Yeah.
that cool asteroid zone being theme parks in the term of gaming.
Yeah.
They're a theme park zone. They're handcrafted. They're built up. They're way cooler. They're more beautiful and stuff. But you can still throw in these sort of seedy side areas and spots that people can go
Hmm.
off to, so they don't constantly have to go to one of the main hubs. It gives players options. So that's what's good about this. It gives you options.
As one kind of spin-off from this, actually, one thing that Chris did say, and it's been talked about in chat, is about how they are looking at landing corridors, which means that last year we saw some lovely kind of descent. Again, another Sean Tracy special where he flew a Connie and landed at Area 18.
Mm-hmm.
The entire notion was, of course, that at some point during that process, the automation took over and you were landed. You didn't have the control. Now, going forwards, they're going to be using landing corridors, which means that you can fly yourself down. But if you, God forbid, touch the sides, you will then be taken over and you will be landed by computer. But it means that we can land our own ships
They
in
just don't want
certain
us flying our
areas.
ships into buildings.
I
That's
hear that's not very popular.
No, but they talked about that very thing where they don't want people messing with the traffic or flying into buildings or that sort of stuff. That's not really going to be okay. So that's why they have the landing corridors, just to kind of force that. And however, if you try to go outside the landing corridors too often, they even talked about the possibility of criminal fines and
Okay.
revocation of your landing permit because you've been trying to get out of the corridor.
The Belsant asks a question of you, Grakees. Do you think they'll be able to put Area 18 into Crusader, where you could fly down and land on a pad, then get out and go shopping and whatnot?
I believe we just talked about that.
Yeah, but I think
ArcCorp,
that
once ArcCorp gets added into the Crusader system and we can fly to it, yes. Once they have landing at landing zones in, yeah, it's definitely going to happen. It's just a question of when's it going to be ready. It's a priority thing,
mm, mm,
but
mm.
it's going to. I mean, that stuff is definitely going to be there. And Area 18 was that example video that you talked about. So
Yeah. So, um, so I was very intrigued by that. Now, what was special for me was the fact that they'd only started that in September.
the oh yeah, the work on it, yeah.
So I'm kind of wondering how far they've already gone with it now.
My God, the amount that the tech is going to jump faster and faster. I'm going to need like 3 PCs to play this game. I need a quantum computer that's, cooled by liquid nitrogen.
Oh, that would be so good. Yeah, as Waka says, I do think we're going to get Procedure out sooner than later. I think it's going to come out very, very soon, but it's just a question of how they fit into the release schedule because it was a bit of a left fielder.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I wouldn't say it was completely left field, though.
it was on the map, but
It was.
it wasn't. And we can do this immediately. It was like, oh, we can do this now. Holy shit! Let's see what you can do.
Yeah. Though I did talk about procedural tech as my. I
Yeah,
saw
you
that one
called it.
coming a month
You
beforehand or
called it.
more.
You called it. So we're seeing people talking about basic implementation of procedure generation will arrive in Q1. I think it probably will arrive end of Q1, beginning of Q2, and we'll see kind of what happens. Now, in terms of other bits of surprise, as part of today or yesterday, they've just released 2.1 to live.
Yes,
And
yes.
one of the joys that they released was actually the flyable Vanguard.
I can't believe that ship came out so fast. That is awesome.
Okay, let's take one quick timeout. Sverbaum is saying that you're quieter, Grakees. Shall we do a quick audio check?
I'm checking my levels right now. I'm peaking the mic meter, and my mic boost is set to ×4. And my gain is set pretty much where it has been for all my streams. And if I go any louder, it picks up background noise.
Is there any chance that my voice is just grated and annoying, so therefore it sounds louder?
But I'm checking the levels right now, and there's no reason that I
I
should be super
move,
quiet.
I move away from the mic to breathe. Okay. So, AKA, what's the elephant in the room? So we can talk about that. Although, if it's something we may do post show, so we'll have to see what it is. Grakees is like 90% the volume of a Dublar. Still, so you're louder to whack, and the captain says I'm definitely louder.
Okay, so Waka said, yeah, you are louder than me.
Hang on, let me see if I alter my gain.
But if I'm 90% of the volume, that's pretty damn close.
How's that?
You're
Hey, Statman.
you're really close to your mic right now. You actually got louder.
Okay. How's that?
Oh, there you go.
Okay. So, right. In Kato, you're timed out for swearing. Sorry about that, but we swear here, but we'd ask our chat to remain civil. Okay, shall we kick back in? So the Vanguard. It's amazing how it's already out. There is some controversy about it, but we'll come to that in a second. Have you flown it yet?
I have flown it, actually.
How does it play?
It's more maneuverable than I would have thought. It's got a slow combat speed, which I expected. However, its top speed in cruise is nuts. I don't know if that's a bug or if it's just because of those powerful engines behind it. But if its cruise speed is so high, I'm surprised that its combat speed is so low. Unless combat is based on when it can still maneuver. And maneuver in a certain way. I mean, it still needs adjustments, obviously, to how much damage you can take. The physical based damage system still isn't in there. The shield systems aren't still fully working right, especially against, projectile damages. There's a lot of stuff that they need to still implement before I can make a call as to whether its survivability is correct or its damage is correct. But if it catches you with the forefront guns and the minigun, it can do some damage pretty damn quick.
Now, there's some kind of thoughts and confusion about it because people were saying, isn't it a lead attack ship to run out there and get there first? But that's kind of like a bit of a mixed bag because a lot of people, and obviously it's not flying the way it's expected to fly, but it is meant to get there first. One of the things it has is a longer jump range.
Yes, it
Yeah,
can fuel up and hold. It's a long range fighter.
which may mean it's a faster jump. It may mean it can do more jumps. There's a whole bunch of things. And basically, it could end up just being the Hornet, but with range. If that's the case, I'm glad I've got the Sentinel because I don't know if the Warden would really be my thing. Because I'm not a Hornet lover. I'm a Hornet fighter.
Well, I'm seeing in chat that they already said it will lose agility,
Mm.
which I kind of expected, seeing as it had a 180 on its top speed currently with maneuvering. However, it's hard to say because you can have a highly maneuverable craft with a low speed, even that big, if you put enough thrusters on it. I just didn't think it had the thrusters to do it. So
Yeah.
its mass might not be calculated correctly in the game.
So it's like when the Freelancer got out in the PTU, it was a bit not what it should be.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it still is kind of there, yeah.
Yeah, it's still maneuvering not like a cargo hauler with some big guns on it. It's like it can flip around in a half second. It's like I can't do that in an M50 sometimes.
Now, there is some stuff coming through the forums. Now, I actually haven't checked this thread, but I am aware of it. I checked it, God, a while back when the Vanguard first came into the hangar. It didn't kind of look like its original concept. It looked a little bit more. Oh, what's the name of that ship that you like so well?
Oh, my number 2 ship, the
Your
Retaliator.
number 2, yay, the Tally. It looks a little bit more like the Tally and a little bit more like a hump. And that design still kind of exists. So I can kind of see and understand where people are coming from because I fell in love with the contours and the design. But I don't know if what was seen is actually the finished version.
It's work in progress. They already said.
Right.
There's still stuff that isn't changed out from in the hangar, and there were jokes about putting, and I believe this was on Starcast.
Yeah.
To mention another name. But
a very good podcast.
It is, and Lando was on there, so that's where I got this info
Please
from.
subscribe.
They talked about putting up basically, caution tape and cones around it as a joke, but it's true. It's not done. A lot of the ships aren't done. They're going to go through multiple iterations. They still have new pipelines that they're putting in. They're giving us stuff earlier because we screamed and cried and whined that we want stuff earlier, and we understood work in progress, but then people go, "Oh my God!" and don't seem to understand work in progress. So there's a nice middle ground here where we can give, again, constructive criticism and feedback.
I think the feedback is good. You're like free falling with that. Yeah. So wiggle it just a little bit. Yeah. So I think feedback is good, and we are giving feedback. I just hope that people aren't getting a bit rabid on it. I haven't checked the chat, so I don't really know. It'd be interesting. Well, the people in chat just now, if they were, as we're talking, let us know what they think. Do they like the current design? Are they, really looking forward to it being tweaked? Would they accept it or reject it? Yeah, and everything is in flux. It's the old line is that we don't even have an accurate idea about the control systems, purely because all aspects of the game have yet to be added in. And one of the things they've got to do is be able to map and make everything make sense, which is like a 1,000-piece jigsaw where somebody has added 300 other pieces. from another jigsaw.
And
So
then it turns out it's actually a 3D puzzle.
yeah, it's a 3D puzzle of a sound wave. So it is a bit of a conundrum. So we're looking at it going, this cake tastes like batter, not cake. It's still delicious, but we're obviously
It's not done
waiting.
cooking yet.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and so with that, it's showing that the pipeline is just has been so sped up. Some of this can be through reusable components. Some of this can be through the attention they've taken to this current iteration, as led off with the freelancer and Constellation. Um, Connie. Oh, it's Connie. Yeah, I got the name right. Yay. I've Romanian alcohol has a powerful effect on me. But what do we think is going to be the next ship out? Because the Vanguard was a surprise. What do you think is going to be the next ship that will be flying that we'll have?
Oh, flying, not just in hangar.
Mm.
Flying, I think we could possibly see the Reliant, maybe, because of the work in progress that we've seen on that. Hangar ready, I'm almost certain of that. Starfarer hangar ready, because they already talked about the expansion of the hangar to make it hangar readyable because it will
And
fit.
I'm liking that they are saying that the Gemini people are going to get the original Starfarer, from what I can interpret.
Yes, yes, they'll get to see something, and then
Chat's go on.
I think the saber,
Yeah,
because
we're
I
getting a
mean
lot of saber love.
they dropped that in hangar around the time of the Vanguard 2, and it's a fighter, and it seems like it's pretty close to ready to be able to at least buzz it around. It's not going to be done yet, but it looks like
Yeah.
something you'll be able to fly around and play with.
So yeah, in terms of thinking it through, I think it's. I don't know if it's going to be the Reliant, purely because it's a two-person ship with walk-around room, which means interior work.
Interior work's done.
Yeah, I know, but
It's the
uh,
rotation is the only thing that I would think
well, you see, I
would work.
think that if they're going to do the rotation, they've got the one rotation ship above all, the Cartu Owl. And
Hmm.
given the imagery and the things that we've seen, and also the fact that if you think about the Xi'an Scout model that we got in our hangars, the Xi'an Scout, the models are actually simplified and reduced versions of existing game ships.
Yep.
So we've actually had the Cartu Owl for a while now. So I think it's going to be a Skunk Works and bring that out. But I also think that because they had the Saber in hangar, um, I think that's probably
Hmm.
going to be what we're going to see. What we're going to see next. But I'm going to be really excited for when the cartoon comes out, because that will be three alien races: human, Vandal, and Xi'an, instead of two.
Well, that's two alien races and a human.
We didn't get.
Because we only get to play as humans, so the others are alien to us.
I secretly think that Chris is going to reveal that there were actually 12 tribes.
Well played, sir. Well played.
I do what I can. So I think that's what's going to be next.
So,
Well, go
Saber,
on.
then.
I think Saber. I think Saber. I'd hope it would be the Xi'an. I think if it was a choice between the Xi'an and the Reliant, I think Xi'an would come first, even though the Reliant looks fairly advanced. It's more just to do with the interior space. Um, and as Starsicle says in chat, we've got humanocentric biases. Um,
It's true, we do.
it's at all.
I'm biased to my own species.
Legally, that's actually a very good thing.
Oh, oh, the places that we could go with that commentary.
Yeah, yeah. The saber is quite a lovely ship, as people are saying. I just love when you get into it and the screens just kind of flip down around
Yeah,
you. Uh,
that's going to be a fun one to fly around.
Yeah.
Vanguard's fun to fly, but it needs some work. The screens on it are almost impossible to read.
I did like the Xi'an Scout walkthrough. Actually, what's
Oh,
your what's your take on the new ship shapes? Because
um,
this is I think this is the first one that got a ship shape
no,
logo
they
going on.
did that other. Well, I think that's the first ship shape they did. They also did the discussion, the art discussion around the mining station. I think it was.
Mm. Oh yeah. That was yeah, but was that as a branded as a ship shape?
It might have been a ship shape, or it might have been a discussion with the devs. I can't remember if it was which one it was. It's the same two people,
Mm.
but um,
Well, so just in King Gear Gaming in chat, yes, there was. When we say a Xi'an Scout walkthrough, it was looking at the art direction and design of the ship and how they've approached it
yeah,
as the ship
it
shape.
was a concept walkthrough on the design and stuff. To be perfectly honest, I kind of tune them out a little. I did that the first time. I gave it a shot the second time, and I started to get glassy eyed and tuned out a little bit
Mhm.
because they go into so much detail about small little things that honestly I'd love to go and discover some of that stuff when it gets into the game and see all the cool little details myself.
It's very down into the minutia.
Yeah, it's a little bit too far into the minutia, I think.
And this is you saying that.
Yes, this is me saying that, and I love to do that, but there's got to be something for the player to dig into so that they
Mm.
don't get into all of the fine details of it. There are cool little things that we still like when they showed off the. Okay, I'm gonna use the Retaliator again because I've done the walkthrough of this the most. But when they went through the Retaliator early on, they didn't
Yeah.
get in there and show you how they stamped wording and stuff on the different power cables and things or on the sides of the torpedoes, or they gave you, you know, some of that, but they didn't get into that level of detail which these new episodes of Ship Shape are doing. I saw all of that myself when I was exploring it and got to go, oh my god, look at all the cool little details. That gives a
Mm.
discovery moment for me as a player and as a streamer. You take that away by getting in too far into the minutia, and you pull some of that wonder out of the game when you get access to the item.
I can agree with that to a certain degree, but I think what's interesting for me is um and this is how do I say it? About a year and a half ago, or maybe even 2 years ago. Oh my God, maybe let's say a year and a half,
Mm-hmm.
3 year and 3/4 ago. They had a wee discussion going on, and they were talking about the architecture of Star Citizen, like the actual building architecture. Do you
Yes,
remember
I
that?
remember when they put out the docs on that. Yep.
Yeah, and they were talking about their inspiration and how they took it from various ages.
Yes.
And they kind of flicked through and they showed some of their scribbles and things.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a very conversational showing about how it's not just one thing, it's a layering of information and of how they've kind of thought about, a city, for example, is not just one thing, it's a layering of all those experiences, all those generations.
Yes.
And then when I was looking at the Jan Scout, and you're seeing, because if the people who if you haven't, if you're in podcast land or if you're in video land right now, if you haven't seen the Jan Scout, um, uh, Google "sexy beast ship" and you'll find it.
Don't
Because
Google that you probably won't find it.
I've basically got an inverted V here, and it's got that kind of rising kind of two central pylons up at the top, like a kind of antenna going up.
Yep.
And when you actually look at it, you see these little kind of designs, and it reminds me of like one, partially the corkscrew, the Lloyd's TSB building in London, also reminiscent of Gothic architecture because old and matte black, and it has it kind of soars up. And they even mention Gothic architecture as the wee note.
Mm-hmm.
That's the shit I love. Could you imagine where they took apart a ship and they talked about its influences and where they kind of sourced those notions from? Now, obviously, it may be in a bit too much detail, but it's just simply it's not it's just simply showing their thought and how they approached it would be the fascinating thing for me.
Put it into a written document with pictures, an article, not a
Yes,
video format item.
yes.
Video
And
format, it tunes out. An
well,
article would work much better.
now here's the interesting thing. This then comes from and this is shocking to say because look for so much information. We always want we're a visual medium. Um, Equally, you could talk about it and you could show the doc, but you don't actually have it as taking up the screen. It's not the majority of what you see because we're getting so much visual. Um, it's like if anybody sits an examination or goes to a meeting and you get a handout, one of the first things you do is you tune out the people, you focus on the visual.
Well, that's why I'm not saying put the doc up in the video. I'm
Yeah,
saying put it up as a separate item. If you're going to go into that
yeah,
much detail, do an
yeah.
article on it with the level of detail that some people want. The video, edit it down.
It's like an appendix.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I think this is one of those ones where if they kept it to 5 minutes, it would be a much better delivery.
I think so.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Oh boy, he saw something.
yeah, I'm just reading some comments in chat. Stoutman says most of the devs and artists are not used to being on camera, nor do they want to. So it's hard to find anyone who will talk on camera. Dude, I totally get you. I totally agree. It's one of those ones where if you've got a person who is impassioned, who loves what they do, and can talk on camera about it, it doesn't mean that they have any kind of training experience. They know what's right. Look at myself and Grakees as an example of this. If we didn't point ourselves out and say we've got so much to learn, we'd be hypocrites.
It's true.
Let's see. Making games is very hard. No matter how bad a day they have, they go home knowing they're pushing the boundaries and making something amazing. Totally agree. I mean, this game kicks ass. So I'll give you a quick thing. Last weekend,
Hmm.
I was actually in a bar in London hanging out with Chris and Sandy.
Oh, you lucky, lucky bastard.
And it was good fun. We talked about various odds and sods, none of which I think it was more of a casual thing. So I wasn't kind of making reports or anything. So it was just a good kickback. But again, talking to Sandy and Chris, it's clear the passion they have. And it's also clear that that passion is not just theirs.
Yeah.
Uh, it's the people who are working on it love what they're doing and are very committed to it. And it's just a case of they want to make the best game they can. And you
It's
cannot fault them on that.
Oh, you definitely can't. Especially, I mean, you can see it already in some of the stuff they're doing. Not just in how pretty this
Yeah.
is, but in the fact of talking about PTU again, which just came out with the Vanguard and everything. There were some serious issues when the PTU first dropped.
Mhm.
FPS issues where things would just lag out, server issues, and so on. And they hammered those out pretty damn quickly. I mean, considering the fact that we got PTU and then they had a holiday break, they came back and they went right after it. And it was basically a patch a day towards the end.
Mm. Now that was quite incredible.
Well, they did it before with 2.0 towards the end also and hammering out the issues. And the way that the stability issues and the things they're working on are getting hammered out, it feels way more like midway through a it's still under NDA, but kind of open beta for an MMO than it does for an early alpha, still building this thing game.
Mm-mm-mm.
And no matter how much, criticism we might have or how much we might bitch and whine and moan, which we do tend to do because we want everything right now because we're so damn excited, they're still doing one hell of a job on that front. We're going to disagree with the developers as we tend to do, but they're still doing something that's just it still boggles the mind at times.
Yeah. But in terms of the iteration, the fact that they were able to kind of learn the kind of like rinse, repeat, release, rinse, repeat, the release. That's actually quite another kind of milestone, especially coming into their goal of releasing a new update every month now
Yep.
for 2016. Um, if they keep this up, I mean, can they keep this up? This is going to be
I
quite a
think they can.
quite a push.
With the amount of systems coming online now that they have the baby PU up and
Mm,
running, that's the thing. They will have enough stuff to do every month where they can drop, they'll have a ship coming in or they'll have a new system coming online. They're going to have cargo, they're going to have mining, they're going to have procedural generation popping up, they're going to have Star Marine eventually is going to hit us, the new animations for characters, more weaponry,
mm,
expansion, Star Corp, new landing zones. Like, we're just going to see things speed up and up and
mm.
up. This is where the snowball starts rolling.
And in terms of because you've been streaming the PTU releases. Now we are in live, and Grakees, you've been providing a lot of feedback along with other people to CIG about what's working, what wasn't working. How was it kind of playing like a new build almost every other day or every day?
Um, it can be frustrating at moments where, sometimes you get a patch that just didn't quite work or something broke that you don't see until you have more people hammering on it, that sort of
Mm,
thing. But then there are those just moments of pure joy when something unexpected comes out of it, or you also, the joy for me too in discovering bugs. Just because I have that mindset, I like breaking software, I like breaking games,
you were
and
like a pig in shit sometimes.
yeah, but it's not. It's also more than just about playing the game when you're on PTU. It's about trying to help the developers. You can feel that more in the community of it.
Mm.
There are some people that go around and just wreak havoc and are in there. They're just like, oh, good, I got access to this, and now I'm just going to play it like a game. No, that's not the point of PTU. PTU, you're there to help break things. So if people are in chat and saying, "Hey,
Mm.
I'm tracking down a bug. Please don't blow up my ship right now because this could be a nasty crash for everyone. I need to figure this out." And then people, fly into a station, blow up all the ships, and then just quantum out real quick. It's like, go do that on live. That's
That's what
PTU.
lives. Yeah.
Bring, open your chat window sometimes. Try and coordinate with people, actually trying to get it into the tester mindset. That's what PTU is there for. PTU isn't just a playground with new toys.
I think you typified that when I saw you just recently. Actually, you were testing ship explosions.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to explain what you were doing, the methodology behind that?
Okay. So there were a couple of things, and actually, it turned out there was a bug involved in that they fixed, where ship
Oh, cool.
explosions weren't being seen, and I didn't even see that on the issue council list. So I don't know if someone spotted it or if they were already tracking it. Could have been either or. But basically, what was happening was we were getting FPS lag, and it was hitting from server side, and we didn't know specifically what was causing it. However, Eric McCutton also noticed, as I did at the same time, when we were blowing up enemy AI ships, we were seeing some very odd pixelation in the explosions. Like,
Hmm.
as you fly, for me, I love to go head to head at times, put my shields forward, detonate someone, and fly through the cloud of explosion. What I would notice is instead of an explosion, I would just get a bunch of orange squares. The explosion would seriously become giant orange pixels, and it it would hit at the same time as the lag, and it was like, wait a second, I wonder. And both of us wondered, okay, I wonder if the explosions are being sent out to everyone across the server and trying to render it to everyone, and that's why it's freaking out. If it has more to do with the AI, so just to double check, we had a couple of people from my chat that were in the same server as me. So we flew away from Port Olisar and proceeded to try and cause ship explosions by shooting at them and blowing up their ships. What we noticed, though, that was that when players were flying their ships, there wasn't an explosion. It would just kind of break apart. And it was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's odd. But then I managed to detonate ships with people not flying them on a couple of landing pads and testing it out with them. and the explosions didn't pixelate. So then we knew it was an effect of the lag. It wasn't a possible cause of lag. But you have to sometimes go out and investigate that. And we set up very specific circumstances, which we would repeat. Same ship, same versus ship types, Super Hornet versus Aurora. The pirates are flying Auroras also. Check and see if the explosion happens. And you try to recreate the circumstances of the bug. And if you find it, you try to drop that info off to the devs, help them out. So
That's very true.
that's what PTU is for sometimes. Yeah, it's great to see the new stuff, but there are going to be moments where you got to track something down.
Yeah, and as Stoutman says, CryEngine has been sending old data to everyone, which is wasted resources and causing lag. They're slowly modifying the engine to stop this, but it will take time. It's kind of like the use button. Some of these things are buried deep.
Oh yes, and
Yeah,
that's definitely known. But if if it's sending all the data, what data was it sending? And that was the head scratcher. Hey, is the explosion data being sent to everyone? Turns out it wasn't, because not everybody was having the explosions on the other ships didn't happen the same way as it did with an AI ship. So it was something to do with AI spawning in and getting killed.
yeah. What do you think is going to be in 2.2?
Oh,
We've already had 2.1. That just released yesterday, so we have to be looking forwards. I'm sorry, CIG.
oh no! Don't
Uh,
apologize. They already changed their Discord chat to say 2.2.
oh, those poor bastards.
Not kidding you. Their Discord already says PTU 2.2 in it. So
What?
they're ahead of us even.
While you think about that, Techie Marines asks, what do you think will be the first capital ship to be put into the PU? Um, Now that's an interesting question because I think it could be the Idris. However, when is the PU the PU?
Yeah.
I have a very strong feeling, as much as those with the I loves, the Idris loves, have it. We're not going to see the Idris released until after Squadron 42,
I'll
purely
say
because it's a sexy beast and it's going to be one of the focus points and one of the sexy points of Squad 42. So I would be surprised if they were to do a full release of it until after.
I think this is how they're going to do it. I think that they're going to release us the first mission of Squadron 42 and drop the Idris to Idris owners at the same time.
That would
So
be bloody
once the
good.
first mission of Squadron 42 is ready for the sort of vertical slice preview that we're supposed to be getting and that they might want to do just to introduce us to it and get the hype up a little bit around it,
Yeah.
they're going to drop that and the Idris at the same time, because now we're going to see the Idris anyway in Squadron 42 when they release it. Might as well give it to the owners so that they don't pull us out of what they're giving
Mm,
us with Squadron 42. So I think it's going to be a
that makes
simul
perfect
drop.
sense. I think it'll be a simul drop then. It will be interesting to see with the care and attention and duration that's been spent building the Idris as like as a pilot for how things work. Will that mean that the small Corvette, when it comes out, will actually come out first?
Hmm,
Because they can then pipeline iterate and get it through it faster. We'll
it's
see how
possible.
that all kind of goes. Um, but then again, you can also see any large ship is going to be the start of and indicative of how a capital ship could possibly perform. Less armor and shielding and power and everything, but still just the general flow and coordination.
It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be very interesting.
So what
Um,
was that other question I was supposed to think about that I
Oh, what do you
forgot?
think's going to what do you think is going to be in 2.2?
Oh, 2.2. Honestly, I think that we might see a possible expansion of Area 18,
Yeah.
meaning the first iteration of shopping.
Yeah.
So I think that shopping's going to be dropped in because they have the prototype that they mentioned and they're already actively working on it. They got the thumbs up, so it's going in pretty quick.
Hmm.
So I think we're going to see shopping. We might see persistence if they've got that ready to go in the back end to be able to do shopping, so we all see each other's clothes and all the
Hmm.
outfit change stuff, and maybe just local shopping, but semi persistence, not full persistence yet.
I think there's going to be some form of subsumption in play.
Mm-hmm.
I think everything that you say is going to be there. I am, however, going to add at least two or three small landing zones in
Okay.
terms of stations
In
and
the P
places
in the
in
baby PU
in the baby PU
in Crusader, we'll say.
in Crusader, and I'm hoping for Nyx.
I'm hoping for Nyx. I think that'll be 2-3 though,
I think it'll be two,
because
three.
they showed that video about the lighting work they're still doing and everything else. I
Yeah,
think there's still some work to do there before they show it off.
and I think we'll have EVA proper in 2.2
Um,
because they've pulled
if they
out a 2.1.
they pulled it out of 2.1 because it was so broken. They might give it
In that
another
case,
shot in 2.2.
2.4.
Yeah, they might give it another shot in 2.2, but it was pretty bad. It
Yeah.
definitely needs some more love, and it depends on where it is in the priority list.
Now, here's a question: when do you think the female model will come in?
It will come in after Star Marine once they have the full set of animations and everything set for the skeleton to be able to be implemented to it. I think that's when it comes in.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so everybody in chat, just to let you know, this is how we roll our podcast, our stream. We're actually going to be on for the next wee while. We want to hang out with yous, answer questions, talk more with chat because we kind of keep that out of the main podcast. So we're going to go to our goodbye and our wee splash screen, but we haven't actually ended. We're going to come back. If you've got any questions, ask questions. That's not my best spelling. So question
Questomestins.
mestens. And we'll just hang out. We want to say hi. We want to see what people have been up to. What have you been playing over Christmas, kind of thing. And we'll talk about various topics that we've talked about. But so, Grakees, where can we find you?
Damn it, I was going to ask you that, but you beat me to it.
No, that you do me.
Dublar, where can we find you, sir?
You can find me at twitch.tv/Doubler That's Doubla.
I was waiting to see if you screwed it up.
I always fuck it up.
You haven't lost form.
I have no form. You can find me at twitch.tv/Doubler DOUBLARTHACKERY.
Well done, sir. And you can
Um,
find me, Grakees, at twitch.tv/Grakees, Grakees, as well as on Twitter and all around the internet.
all the
Just
other
search
places.
Grakees.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening to and supporting this recording this podcast. If you, for some ungodly reason, like what you hear, share it with others. Obviously, politely. Don't just sneak up on people and go, "Hey." And also feel free to leave a review either on the RSI website, where you'll find us in the community hub, or on iTunes, or wherever you get your podcasts from. We'll see you guys next week. It's great. 2016. We've broken the seal of season 2 for ourselves. Long may we continue.
Yes. Well, we'll catch you all in just a moment. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Still here. Still here. Still here.